In the centre of the French countryside was a beautiful chateau, left abandoned and forgotten for over 40 years. Then, 1 year ago, a family from the UK fell in love with its beauty and embarked on an adventure.
So this is the hotel.
Where that big tree is there, you can see the pillar. To bring back to life this forgotten chateau. Join myself Terry, my partner Ash, my mum Tracy, dad Tony and nephew Jonathan in our family adventure at Château de Lalacelle.
Good evening. Here we are in the Grand Salon at Château de Lalacelle, and tonight we're just going to have a quick chat about why we're here, really, and what brought us here. And a lot of people ask that question, don't they?
Yeah, obviously the only video that we've really done explaining who we are and why we're here was, I think it was the second or third episode, which was Meet the Family. And looking back, it wasn't great. It's a bit cringe-worthy now, but we were only starting off.
We were still learning.
Yeah, we didn't know anything about editing, we didn't know anything about camera work, mics, anything like that. So we're still learning now, but we are getting better with it. So we just wanted to do a newer version, just explaining why we're on this journey, really, and what we're doing.
Yeah, and I think at the time as well, we didn't explain ourselves great because we didn't expect YouTube to grow the way it has.
Well, it was difficult as well for us because part of the family was still in the UK. You and Tony were over here, and we weren't really a part of the journey as such. We were still working in the UK, and it was hard for you because you were over here on your own.
And then I went back and you came and your mum was here, and it was all, we were, for a year and a bit really, we were all over the place, weren't we, just trying to fill in bits of jobs and just keep going really.
Yeah.
So now it's nice to be able to sit back a year later from that chat and discuss where we're at.
Yeah. So the reason why obviously we're here at our journey, obviously it started from when we used to holiday in France, and then it got into, like everyone does, obviously you go on holiday and you love it and you start looking at house prices, and then the dream normally just fades away, which I think it did for all of yous.
It didn't fade away. I'd said it was always a 10-year plan. I've always said by 45 we should be here and looking at doing this. I think that was always in my head. I'd always gone for about 45 in my head.
Yeah.
I'm not 45 yet. Not quite.
44. Shut up. So obviously I carried on looking at prices, looking at houses, and just for something to do really, and just to have a dream to sort of hold on to, yeah. And then obviously Escape to the Chateau came along, and then I was just like, oh god, yeah, something like that'd be wonderful. Because we've always loved old buildings and visiting them and stuff like that. So then obviously we got looking at chateaus.
I still remember it was the December. It was the December before you came to me and you said you'd found this.
Well, I'd been looking at them for probably about 5 years before we got Lalacelle, and I'd been looking at loads of different ones, and there's some beautiful ones out there, but none of them just...
None of them had the Goldilocks factor, everything just right, was it? It was just... There was
some that were absolutely amazing, just like even millions, 5 million, 6 million pound, but they just didn't have you just know that there's something special. When you see a house that you love, it doesn't matter about anything else, you know that that's the right one. And I'd looked at so many, and I was like, oh well, yeah, that's all right. Oh, yeah,
but it was again, right. It was all about like where it was. There was always something that we didn't like about one of them.
Starting off, we didn't really have a list as such. It was only when I was looking through them that we started realising, oh well, we want a bit of land, we want it rural, we want it like North France.
We wanted untouched. We wanted, and it kind of just went from there, didn't it?
Yeah, and like we didn't actually write a list down and tick them off. Yeah, it's got that. Yeah, it's got that. We're just like, well, yeah, that's got a lot of them, or we like this, or we like that. So in 2019, I used to follow like quite a lot of abandoned chateaus and stuff like that, and we planned on doing a trip, me and Ash, over to France, just to view a couple of the abandoned chateaus. And there was one that I absolutely loved, which had a moat right the way around it. Can't remember the name, and that had been abandoned. And we thought, oh, like, yeah, we'll go and see that one, and we'll take a couple of the other ones off. And the chairs that I'd done for the chateau owners, we were going to drop those off for them, and meet those and get all that sorted. So fantastic. That was planned for 2020, and then COVID hit, which obviously just put everything on a stop. And then just before Christmas in 2019, obviously, it just, I don't even know how it came across. I just went on the internet one day just to have a look at the chateaus like I normally do, and a website came up which I'd never ever been on, which was Cabinet Linal, yeah. And I was like, oh well, I'll have a little look. Obviously loaded it up, chateaus for like £6 million. I was like, oh great, another one. So straight away, as you always do, cheapest first. And I was looking through, got onto the second page, and Lalacelle came up, and I was like, oh my god, that is absolutely stunning. So went on it, and they only give you a couple of pictures.
And they don't tell you where it is at. They don't give you like it's
anything.
24 Le Bernard Avenue.
Yeah, it's in France.
It's near a city.
Yeah.
Well, it's 20 kilometres from a city. It's in France. It's near a national park. That was the description.
Yeah. And then it gives you a couple of little pictures. So there's a picture of the Grand Salon. There was a picture of the dining room, I think.
And the turret stairs.
No.
Was it not?
No. In the first one, the first
that was
listing,
when you requested it, wasn't it?
You only get a couple of pictures. So I was like, oh god, that is amazing. And it didn't really give you anything. Like I said, you didn't see the staircase, you didn't see the hallway, you didn't see really any of the land or anything like that.
But that became apparent why when we got here.
Yeah. So I was like, oh god, that's amazing. So show Nash, oh well, 10 years, we'll look at it.
And I still remember saying that in the December, you said it in the January, you said it in the February, and then COVID hit in the March and we got locked down.
Yeah.
And it was still, I was still, up until that point, I still wasn't on board.
No, everyone went, even Mum and Tony. Once I spotted the chateau, I would sit there every single day after work and make sure it was still available, and obviously just look at it and just think, oh, what if? And it was just amazing. Yeah, I used to just sit and just watch it every night, just thinking, oh god, it would be amazing. I'd love to go and visit it, this, that, and the other. And I think it was about April, was it?
It was April. We'd been locked down for the month. We'd been locked down about a month at that point, and obviously I was working from home. We couldn't open the shop, and we'd been stuck in the house together for a month pretty much.
Yeah.
And
I can't remember the exact. Obviously,
it was mid to end of April. I remember we'd been locked down about a month, and you'd gone on about it literally the whole month.
Yeah, and obviously, Mum was still at work, and I just said, "Oh, like everyone was getting fed up with it all. Obviously, we couldn't probably see family, and couldn't do that." So, I just said, "Oh God, look at this like place I've spotted. Imagine how amazing it would be if we all moved over and renovated it all."
And again, in between that, I remember it was about that time you made me try and find it, because you'd been looking for about 2-3 days, hadn't you, on Google Maps?
Well, we'd been talking about it, and obviously told Mum, oh god, yeah, that'd be amazing. Obviously, we could all be together. Me and Mum have been together my whole life. Yeah, like there hasn't been like a day where we've been apart really.
Even when you were in uni in Huddersfield, but you still spoke.
Yeah, spoke
seeing
every
each other
day,
a couple of times a
like
week.
that. Yeah, so obviously being apart with COVID restrictions and all that, it was difficult. So this was like a way for us all to be together constantly, have our own space, but
But be able to
Work together.
be able to provide. It had everything. The list of things had got to be. It ended up being we had to be close enough to the UK if we ever needed to get back.
Yeah.
We had to be a bit of land. Had to have some other buildings. It had to have everything that this place is, and this place ended up being that and more, didn't it?
Well, yeah. And obviously, when we looked through it, and we just thought, oh God, yeah, it'd be amazing. So that was the end of that chat, and then obviously, day after day, I'd still search, and said to Ash, I wonder whereabout it is. So we were trying to look on Google Maps, and we were looking around Alençon, which is the closest town to us, and I couldn't spot it anywhere. So we just sat there. I remember it exactly. Sat there, I was running about. I was trying to look on it, and Ash came running up the stairs. I found it! I was just like, oh, that's so excited. So we looked, and you spotted it from the shadow of the turret.
It was the shadow, yeah. The way from the above view, the way that the sun shone, I could see it was the turret. It could only be this building.
Oh, the tower, should we say? We've been corrected. It's
the
tower.
tower.
Yeah.
So from the tower. It could only have been this building. We'd seen it that many times with Terry looking at it by that point.
Yeah.
So we knew exactly where it was. And then first thing you did was little man on the street.
Yeah.
Driving up and down the road.
Luckily, because we've got the main road here, obviously we could go straight on the main road and we could look from the street what it looked like. So we'd look up, and then obviously we went down to the gates because the gates are on the main road.
Yeah.
I said, oh God, look at the gates. So straight away send it to Mum, look at this. And it was just amazing. But
we couldn't get it. We'd spoke to these. I remember going back and forward with you had me going back and forward with Eric a few times.
Yeah, so we put in a request to get additional information, which then obviously the additional information came through, told us more about it.
Showed us some pictures from 10 years before.
Yeah, when it was half decent.
When there was still furniture in here.
Yeah, and it showed us the staircase, and we just knew instantly that
we
it
both
was
went,
absolutely amazing, didn't we? So we were in talks with the estate agent, and he was like, oh well, you'll have, like, we couldn't buy it without viewing it. He said you have to come and view it. We couldn't put an offer in.
We didn't understand, again, we didn't understand why at the time.
Yes.
We could have, but he wouldn't let us.
Yeah, he wouldn't let us.
That was the difference.
So obviously day after day restrictions are going on, and the end of June, obviously the restrictions...
Well, no, it was mid-June. I remember it was mid-June. They said, right, restrictions are coming up. Restrictions are being lifted first week in July. So we were literally, I remember the first ferry that left the UK from the restrictions ending, we were on it.
Yeah, we were on it. We were straight over here, came over, obviously drove hours and hours to come and see it, and it was just like, as soon as we, like the little clip that you get in the...
Again, because it was before that for me. Where we're from in the UK, we're from a place called the Tees Valley, and for me, when we would drive, as soon as you left the main motorway, and we got through Pace, and we got to Saint Denis, I started having goosebumps, because looking at the side, it was like we were in the Eston Hills. There's a little peak that looks like Rosebery Topham near where we are, and I've never been anywhere in the world where instantly, as soon as I've got there, I felt at home. And we weren't even near the chateau, but I felt this is my home. And it was an instant feeling.
Definitely. And the little clip, obviously on the intro, obviously with me getting excited, sat in the back of the car, that's obviously when we first, like...
There's the
gate. So this is the hotel.
Where that big tree is there, you can see the pillar.
There's the posts.
Because I'd looked at it so much, I'd looked at it every single day, so...
But
again, so much about
we
it
have
anyway.
we have to put everyone right here in terms of explaining it. Me and Tony were sent over to rein Terry in to talk him out of it. We weren't here to...
So we got
to
here,
buy it.
And we parked the car at the top, and we decided to walk down the drive so we could get the full experience.
Again, that's not the full truth story. The drive was so overgrown. We didn't know when the car would get down there.
So we walked down, obviously, and took it all in. But then, obviously, when we got here, we started walking around. It was still absolutely amazing. We were just so overwhelmed with being here.
I think,
but then it started settling in, like
the work.
It looks nothing like the pictures. The pictures that were on the advert compared to the pictures when we got here.
For me, though,
40 years difference.
There was jubilation, and there was I was I was so happy, but I was so sad. So we came here knowing that this was out of our price range as well.
Yeah.
We absolutely knew that this was.
I think it was on for
485.
485. It was on for.
We knew it was out of our price range, but again, we'd moved heaven and earth to try. But there was the feeling of when we got here, we both said straight away, "There's no way we're paying 485 for this."
Definitely not. Definitely not. When we got here, obviously,
I'd been following the prices though as well in France, and at that point, house prices from the beginning of COVID, house prices had dropped nearly 40%. I think it was at the time.
Yeah, which played into like the COVID restrictions helped at the beginning.
Yeah,
but then it's been an absolute nightmare ever since.
Yeah.
So it played in our favour buying it.
Yeah.
But after buying it, it has been.
Again, there's a story to even buying it. So when we pulled up, obviously we were here for an hour and a half, 2 hours before the estate agent got here because we'd agreed to meet him here, haven't we?
Yeah. So we managed to obviously look around the whole place. We obviously the double doors at the back, they were open, so we managed to just come straight into the chateau and just walk around and look at it. So we toured the whole 21 acres that we've got.
No, but again, we didn't know what was ours and what we had an idea.
We did, because I had my little map.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
Yeah.
So Terry had managed to do a recce of the whole site. We were, I think, me and Tony.
You were just sort of amazed with this part, and I wanted to see what
everything
was like. Obviously, if it was going to be viable, because it was me that was coming over to sell the stream to everyone,
and we were coming over to pull it a bit, not pull it a bit, but be the sensible,
be realistic.
Yeah.
So then, obviously, we were looking around, and then the estate agent come, and he was like, "All right, should we have a little walk around?" We're like, "Well, we've already seen it all." Really? I'm like, "Well, yeah." Like,
you agreed to meet us at 2 o'clock. It's now 3:30. French time.
Yeah. He went for his little lunch. So we'd seen everything. We'd seen the state of it. We'd seen the woodworm. We'd seen the back garden.
Yeah, the fact that it was so overgrown. Nobody had been down there in 20 years, and we
the
just...
cottage, obviously we walked in there, like I was amazed with it, I loved it. But then obviously it starts setting in, God, like there's so much work.
This is a lot of work. And again, you don't break it down compartmentally when you're initially like faced with that. You just think, oh my God, this is a monumental undertaking. This isn't something this is a 10-year project. This is not something that's going to be done in the next year or two and we're going to be sitting pretty.
Yeah. So, like I said, the estate agent come, and then someone else came down the driveway. I'm like, oh, is he booked in another viewing? I'm rude. We drove from the UK.
But we'd also got permission to stay here as well.
Yes, so our first night, obviously, because we wanted to get a proper feel for it, so we're doing it properly, so we wanted to get a feel for the area, for the noise, because we are near the road, and just so we could spend more time here, instead of just coming, spending an hour looking around and making a life decision, spending an hour here. So we asked to see if we could camp in the front. So we spent the night camping, didn't we?
Yeah.
And obviously going back to when the next people.
Yeah.
So the people had came down the drive, pulled up. Eric went over to see them, and he was stood there for about half an hour, wasn't he, just talking.
But at this point as well, before that point, me and Tony had a chat with Eric, and we basically, I remember distinctly saying to Eric, saying, "Look, this is a beautiful place. Yes, it's something that we want to do, but you're not getting that money that you're asking for it."
No.
And I remember saying, I specifically remember saying to him, I was like, "Look, if we don't buy it today, we'll come back in a year's time and we'll probably get it for 100 grand less again because of the deterioration." And that's when the kids showed up.
Yeah.
And they obviously hadn't been here in a long, because they were shocked by like how overgrown it was up these windows.
Yeah.
The
front parts just around the tower, like the weeds and everything that were just growing up, like they were up to the windows.
Yeah.
It was you couldn't open gates, it was just crazy.
Yeah.
So he was talking to them, and then he came back and just said, obviously, it was the owner's daughters. And that was that, really. So we'd gotten a saying about prices, didn't we?
Yeah.
Obviously, while Eric was talking to the daughters, we were talking about budget, what we could afford, what we planned on spending.
Whether it was over it, under it, and then what offer we could put in that wouldn't leave us unable to not do work because we knew that we would have to spend money.
Yeah, which we haven't got a massive budget. Obviously after purchasing it and stuff like that, but it was just one of those things where you just fall in love and you just have to save it.
Yeah.
So we said to him obviously that we weren't paying anywhere near what they were asking, and he said, oh well, someone had put an offer in for, I think it was 320 the Christmas before, and he said that he refused that one. And obviously he wouldn't go
any lower
than that. So we were just like, all right, okay. So it was just a bit like heartbreaking because we're like, oh God, well, we're not going to get it.
But again, I remember we said, look, fine, but a year before, the deterioration even since then is huge. So
obviously we were talking about budgets and all that again. Afterwards as well, obviously, after everything had gone through, we found out the people that had put the offer in were our good friend Carol and Adrian, which have bought Château de Lalacelle. So I've been speaking to Carol for the last year and a half, constantly just about stuff. So I follow their journey, they follow ours, and it's great because they were planning on buying this just before us. They came over, done loads of work, the same as us. So before we actually purchased it, we came over, we were out to clear the land and get stuff sorted. And they'd done the same. So the owner obviously was loving it because all these English people were coming over, spending all this time doing work on the Chateau, and he didn't have to pay a penny. So they came over, done a lot of work, but then they decided obviously it was just too much work for them, and they went and bought a Chateau that has got just as much work. But they're doing a fantastic job. But obviously it's when obviously he said about he refused their budget, so we were just like, all right.
Well, we
stuck to what we said.
You walked away, and me and Tony went, right, we spoke to Eric, and me and Tony put the offer in. We were the ones coming not to put an offer in. Terry walked away, we put an offer in.
Well, we'd agreed a price, didn't we? We said, all right, we'll put this price in. And obviously it's confusing because we were working in pounds, euros, and then you've got your fees on top of it. So we'd set a price of just the property. But the estate agent thought it was the property and the fees. So we were like, right, we'll put that price in.
We'd actually put a price in. It was nearly 50,000 more we'd offered. But he took it the wrong way
because he was working in
the price and the fees.
But we were working just this. So we put the price in for just this, and he was like, "All right, well, it's very low with the fees." And we were like, "Oh, is that with the fees?" Oh, yeah.
We went, okay. So we'll leave it there.
So we're like, yeah, right, fine. You said that offer, so we'll put that offer in. So he's like, so we left it at that, and obviously we
stayed the next day, and then before we went home, we agreed to go and stay in Lentelaire for the night to have a shower. And
hotel right next to us.
And an amazing restaurant, genuinely superb cuisine.
And we were sat having obviously some food, and we hadn't heard out for like the whole day that day, and we were just getting a bit twitchy. Obviously, we were going on the next day. So I said, "Oh look, Ash, just message him, see if he's heard anything." And then it came through, and he just said, "Look, I've been so busy. I've been wanting to tell you congratulations.
Your offer's been accepted."
Your offer's been accepted. And
all of us just burst into tears, didn't we? I'm going to do it again now. It was literally...
it was me, Ash and Tony. His mum was looking after the business, and we were just in tears. We just couldn't believe it, could we? It was just amazing. We were just so excited. So obviously we got all the drinks in. So it was amazing. So then the next day, obviously we got back, and like we were driving back, and it didn't really sink in.
No.
Obviously we're driving back, and we're like, all right, it's been a little holiday, so. And then we're driving back, and Eric sent all of the details to say, oh, like obviously you purchased the property, you need to send over a deposit.
We had to book it. He said, this is the agreement. Once you sign, you've got so many days to pull out your thing, and we won't accept any more offers. It's because we were pushing, take it off the market. So he made us sign some agreements that we were going to come over, pay the deposit, on that date, and then there's a process you have to follow in France, like the land has to be offered to the local farmers and stuff like that. And
is it about 3 months? Is it? It takes?
90 days, I think it was. And so for 90 days, we've obviously paid our deposit.
Not knowing if we're getting it still.
Yeah. Not knowing if somebody wanted to buy it, because they could have just bought a chunk of the land, I think, because technically it's 4 parcels here, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's separated into 4 sections.
So we didn't know if farmers were going to come in and want to buy it. We knew that next door, the cider factory had an interest in it as well. So we were a bit on tenterhooks pretty much for 3 months, and then the date came. He was like, right, all done. Yeah, you need to come pay for it now.
Which was another story, which was so stressful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then obviously that was the story. So here we are in Lalacelle. So back in the UK, obviously people have always asked as well, like what skills and experience do we have with renovations? Well, we haven't done anything on this sort of scale.
No.
Back in the UK, we'd bought an old rundown house, and we'd completely renovated that. Mainly me and Mum weren't we?
Yeah, I
we were
worked
working
away in Glasgow at the time.
Yeah, so we completely stripped all that out. Obviously, that was just.
And that was a normal as well. I'd go away for a week work and I'd come back and there'd be a new room or a new wall up or a new wall down in the house, and that became a regular theme for about a year and a half, didn't it?
Yeah. So like in the living room in the house, obviously, it was just like a normal house, but I wanted this sort of age period look, so we stripped everything out and put in like original fireplaces and stuff like that. And then the kitchen, obviously we opened up into a big kitchen diner. Yeah. Bathroom, so we put our big roll top bath in there.
But again, you made the bathroom bigger because you had to. Terry bought a bath and the bath didn't fit, so we had to make the room bigger. That was literally a true story.
Measurements again.
Yeah, he did this. Thought it'd go in.
Yeah.
When it came to it, there was no way it was going to fit, so we had to literally take a wall out the house and rebuild new walls to fit your bath. And that bath's followed us all the way here because it is a really special bath, isn't it?
It is. We picked it up for £1 on eBay. Another one of my bargain buys. And then we got it shipped up to the northeast, and it's been with us ever since.
Yeah.
But it's lovely because it's quite unusual. You can fit 2 people in it, and the plug hole doesn't get in the way. It's sort of like recessed in.
Yeah.
So it is lovely. It's a nice big bath. So that's good. But our experience-wise, obviously, in that house, me and Mum, we had to relay floors because we had woodworm. So we've experienced woodworm and we know stuff about that.
Yeah.
So when it came to this, we weren't massively put off with it because we'd already dealt with it before.
Yeah, we'd seen the work involved and what we had to do, and we knew that basically this building, it's a big stone building.
Yeah.
It's purely visual, the woodworm here. It's not structural.
There was a couple of places.
There was a couple of places, but at the same time, I remember when we seen the surveys, the fact that there was steels in, that made us kind of look and go, well, it's really not that big a job to redo the rest. We knew about the chemical treatment. We got quotes in as well to see if it could save us money, but we ended up doing it ourselves because I think that was a 23 or 25 grand quote.
Yeah, to get it all done, and it was mainly labour.
Yeah, it was all, I think 20,000 of that was purely labour.
Yeah, so like I said, obviously we have got experience in obviously dealing with the woodworm, dealing with the floors. In that, like me and Mum have always been really good with DIY stuff anyway. Yeah. Just tackling whatever we need to. Obviously taking down walls because we had to take down the wall in the bathroom to extend that, and then Tony helped us when we built a new one.
And we built an extension on the back of our house ourselves. That was all with like my stepdad, Tony, you. Yeah,
so stuff like that. Obviously we have
dabbled.
Yeah, we've done a lot of it, so we know the basics of it, and then the other bits we're just learning along the way.
Yeah.
So
YouTube.
it's just the same as the house that we had in the UK, just a little bit bigger.
But that's what I said. We have to, if you look at this project as a whole, it is overwhelming. It's daunting. It's too much.
Definitely, but you just have to take each bit as it comes, just a room at a time, bit by bit, and just work your way through them. If we at first we're coming up and like, oh God, right, I want to get this room done, and I want to get that done, and I need this doing. and you can't.
No.
Like at first, we were just getting pulled from pillar to post everywhere,
Yeah.
and then obviously we wanted to do work on the grounds, and then obviously setting the business up, and like it was just far too much.
Absolutely. But just on another point with experience, and I was a trained chef. I used to have hotels and restaurants, so I've worked in the hospitality industry and that, and I've got some idea with regards to. I went through a massive renovation in a hotel, and that's helped. I think it's helped me personally with a couple of things that we've looked at with the apartments and stuff and what we want to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's saved, especially with the bathroom decisions and stuff like that.
Definitely, because I'll look at it like a purely visual part, and obviously Mum and Dash will look at it in a practical way, and the same as quite a lot of you do with the comments. So it is good. Me and Mum have always worked in retail as well, so obviously we've had loads of experience with customer service and stuff like that. So obviously
it was the same in the UK though. In the UK, like our business, it was us really, wasn't it, in terms of that's what got it off the ground.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people could have tried and done it. We opened a business in the middle of the worst recession that we've had in God knows how long, and basically we said if we can get it through the year.
Even the business we started it up. We started it with nothing. I think we had
£3,000 worth of stock, if that.
Yeah, to start up the business, which it sounds a lot like £3,000. Oh God, yeah.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. When you start buying stock, it literally is nothing. But we were like amazed with it. Like we were just so excited with it, and like when we look back, even on that, like we just
cringed
like,
over when we see the opening day.
Shop, with that.
Well, again, to put that into context, when we ploughed every penny that we made back into that business to make it work.
So even like when people are saying, "Oh God, like we have put everything into this," like we're not well off. We haven't got millions in the bank. We have put everything we've got. Us and Mum and Tony, we've just put everything in. And at the time when we done the shop, what we had, we done exactly the same then, because we needed to pay the rent, we needed to
But again, that was, if we didn't make the rent in the first week, we went bust.
Yeah.
That was it, it was done, it was over, that was it, finished. But again, it was just one of them things that we
just push. I think if you believe in it, then anything's possible.
Absolutely.
And like it was fun, like over Christmas, we only had Christmas Day off because we wanted to be open before Christmas, but we didn't get the keys for the shop until
17th of December we signed.
Yeah, but it was literally just a blank space. There was nothing at all in there apart from carpet and white walls.
Yeah.
And so we had to build all of the fixtures and everything like that.
We built fish tanks, we built some absolutely amazing things, and they were unique as well to the whole area.
Yeah, so Tony obviously did an amazing job with helping set up all of the fish tank displays. We built rabbit pens, bird stands, everything. And we managed to get open for the January, and it was just amazing. Just getting it sorted.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and obviously we had to take the rent the first week.
Yeah.
Luckily we did.
Yep.
And then it just went from strength to strength, bit by bit. So it was fantastic just to get that done. And then from when obviously we left the shop, when you look from the start date to the end date, the changes was just unreal.
It was night and day. It just grew and grew and grew. But that was something that I think there's something about us as well. Us working together, we just seem to work. We've got a different skill set, and we look at things completely differently, and it causes arguments.
Definitely, we're no perfect couple.
No.
Just because you don't show it on camera doesn't mean that we don't argue.
Oh, we argue, but at the same time, I think it's always a loving, constructive. It's never a nasty argument. It's always we both see things you see things in colour and I see things in black and white. So you can see a vision and I can just see what's there in front of me.
Yeah.
And I think me personally, I find it really difficult to see Terry's vision. So I have to work on the job that he gives me there and then. He gives me a job there and then I can get on and do it. Yeah. But he asks me what I think of stuff and I can't give him an answer because I genuinely don't know. everything. Tracy, and again for a mother-in-law, I have to say.
Well,
this,
you've seen in the video, you know what Mum's like.
Tracy is amazing, and it's not an act, it's not a facade.
She is.
I absolutely love Tracy before we made this leap and we came out here to live together. But
Definitely.
being with her every day and seeing her every day and seeing her in action,
Yeah.
she is genuinely Wonder Woman. She is the most amazing woman that
she gets
I've
up. Obviously, she does the washing. She does obviously the cooking.
She takes Jonathan to school. She preps meals.
And then she comes over, and obviously she still does all the renovations.
Mhm.
So it's not like obviously that she's just doing that and then nothing else.
Yeah.
Like we all have our own jobs. It's not like it's all left to Mum. So obviously I do all of the social media editing.
Yeah.
Obviously Mum does all her little bits.
I do the wood chopping.
Yeah, Ash takes care of all the wood, and then Tony's obviously trying to get the cottage sorted so they've got somewhere to live. And then Jonathan just does our wedding. But she is genuinely, she's an amazing woman. Just to be honest, through my whole life, she has been. She's inspired me to do so much. For both of us, I think.
Yeah, she has, and she's always encouraged.
Yeah.
I've never heard. She's never negative. She's always supportive. She wants us to have the very best, and she'll move heaven and earth to make sure that happens. And like I say, seeing her here, in a whole different light, and living with her.
It was difficult because obviously when Mum first came over, it was a massive leap, and it was daunting and upsetting and stuff like that. And it was upsetting for us because we just thought, oh God, like what have we done? Like she had a nice cosy life in the UK, and we've brought her over here, and she's living in a cold caravan, walking through mud every day.
Yeah.
She doesn't know anyone, she doesn't know the language, she's got no money, and it has been extremely difficult. And I think one of the things that's helped her massively is just your support. Everything, like seeing the comments, and just knowing that she's got like support, like she's got no other women here apart from when family come over
And friends.
Yeah, and she's made some wonderful friends over here. But just reading your comments, she feels that she's got that connection with so many women out there. So that's been a massive help.
I think she feels like she's an inspiration. She's given these people where it's been difficult through COVID and everything.
Definitely.
She reads it and she sees that like she's made a difference or an impact, and the little things that you have sent her.
But that's what I mean. Like she's never had anything like that. Like for people to send her gifts, just who don't like really know her, to go to that effort and actually think of her
and make
send
her feel
a
special.
gift. Yeah, like she just gets overwhelmed every time. Obviously, which you would have seen, especially in the Christmas videos when people send in the gifts. It's just amazing because obviously she just appreciates it so much that people appreciate what she's doing.
And she's not an extrovert again, unless you were close to Trace, like close family. You wouldn't know how amazing she is. She doesn't do it and doesn't shout about it or anything. She just gets on with it.
Yeah, she just gets on with it.
It is what it is. Yeah,
definitely. So, thank you very much, Mum.
Thank you, Tracy.
Couldn't have done any of this without you.
No.
So, obviously, with money-wise, like how we managed to get this place and afford it is purely just from hard work. Obviously we built the business up massively, didn't we? Tony had obviously worked like all his life, and we all had like a pot of savings that we'd saved. Obviously we didn't know what for, but it's just one of those things that you do when you work. Obviously you save up and you just, that's it. So we had our house in the UK. Mum and Tony had their house in the UK, and we had the business, and then Tony had these pensions, and we had our savings, and we just popped everything together, and
Went for it.
Yeah. So again, it's just another thing where we've just put our whole life
into a project.
Into it.
And by hook or by crook, we'll make it work.
Yeah. So we're not well off. We haven't got loads of money in the bank. We're just doing what we can,
where we can
with what we've got, and obviously you being a part of the journey massively helped. Just obviously watching the ads, like the money that we get from YouTube,
That's really our only income right now, isn't it?
Definitely, to help. Obviously, like the funds are going down massively because of the renovation costs, the living costs, everything. And yeah, it's our decision. We planned to do this, and we got ourselves into this situation. But one of the things we didn't expect was just how expensive stuff was going to be over here in France.
And the cost of living during COVID. I think we've seen in materials alone, we've seen I think I was looking at the 28% increase from when we started this project.
Yeah. Inflation
and everything else. It's gone. Luckily, we are really lucky we're in France. France has capped the energy prices at 4%. So we're not looking at a massive increase, and it's affordable, and everything else here we're just having to make do where we can, really, aren't we?
Yeah. So like I said, you just watching the ads massively helps. Obviously we get a little bit of revenue from that, and then obviously we do give extra to people that are part of the Patreon page, which helps a massive amount,
unbelievably.
So that's obviously just another part.
And we've just set up, there's people that don't like the Patreon model, so we've just set up buy me a coffee so people can donate.
Yeah.
Like say someone said, buy me some nails, which it definitely is.
Buy me some pids.
Yeah.
But that's entirely your choice. Obviously, if you don't want to be a part of that, you don't have to be.
No.
The option's there. People have asked, and obviously we did hold off a long time. It's been about a year that we'd held off with Patreon and stuff like that. But so many people had asked, and we just thought, well, if people are wanting to be a part of that journey, then they can be.
Yeah.
And we try to offer as much as we possibly can as well. So it's not like obviously you're paying for nothing. We did want to give a lot back.
Absolutely.
So hopefully this year we'll be able to do the summer welcome day.
Yeah.
So obviously we'll be able to welcome you all along as well, which would be fantastic.
Anyone that can make it would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So obviously that's obviously we've got one for the patrons sorted, which we're going to be doing. But it'd be nice to see if we could try and get things sorted for just local people as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
one thing we have to do, I don't know whether she watches them, but she's very well aware of us, is the Mary de Lalacelle.
Mm-hmm.
She has been absolutely amazing. You hear of difficulties in bureaucracy in France.
Yeah, she's helped out massively, bless her.
She has been unbelievable, and without her help, we'd be struggling with electricity, water, everything.
Mm-hmm.
She's been so patient with us as well, because the language barrier initially was really difficult to get through, and like I say, we're now on the terms where we can go and have a chat with her, and we say, can we see you? And she says, yeah, come down, and we go and see her, and she, every time we've been to see her, she's fixed whatever issue or whatever we've tried to do as well. So just a huge thank you to her and the people of Lalacelle.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Obviously, hope that has helped a little bit with obviously our journey, why we're here, and what we're doing, and what we plan to achieve. It's a little bit more about us as well.
Yeah. People have an understanding. Like I say, these are questions that we constantly get asked, and we have to refer people to the old cringy video on it.
Oh, yeah. So hopefully this helps a little bit.
It's nice to see though, isn't it, when we look back at them videos, because again, I think we lose context sometimes of how far we have actually come, and we have come, I think, a lot further than what we expected to in that time.
Definitely, obviously, because we're seeing it all every day, obviously the renovations and stuff like that. We don't really appreciate the amount that we've actually done. We know, obviously, everyone says we've achieved so much in such a short time, but you don't really appreciate it, do you?
No, not at all. And like I say, when you...
Just because you want to be in.
Yeah.
We want to be out of the caravan.
Yeah. And I want to be playing in the gardens.
Yeah.
So...
but yeah, hope this has helped. Hope you've enjoyed it as well. I know it's been a long, boring episode, but it's just nice to tell people our journey and why we're here. Mm-hmm.
And you can talk for fun, and I can talk for fun, so it's good.
But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, and we'll see you on Wednesday with the cottage update.
Mm-hmm. If you'd like to join us on our family journey, bringing back this once forgotten chateau, then please join us on Patreon for behind the scenes footage, updates, live chat, and your very own piece of the chateau.